The current state of the horror genre in film and games alike is currently in shambles. When a movie like Megan is the biggest thing in the genre currently, we need to start asking ourselves where we went wrong.
Go! Whoa! Hey, what's going on? Hey, Katie!
Go!
What are you doing? Stop it! Katie, calm down!
Let her go.
What?
But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I figured with the state of how things are, how about I start a new series on this channel called First Time Experiencing. This will be a series where I delve into the most popular aspects of an entertainment form and give my critical opinion on it. Today's subject, Creepypasta. After my Five Nights at Freddy's video, I was exposed to a community on YouTube that was passionate about Creepypasta, and it made me realize I've never actually looked into that art form. So this is how we're gonna do it, right? The first section of this video is gonna be compiling different Creepypasta stories and sites, while the second half of this video will be my subsequent reaction / review of whatever I look through. As I'm a newbie to Creepypasta, I'm sure the first half of this is going to be painful for any Creepypasta fanatics. But anyways, let's get into it.
Help me!
First things first, Reddit surfing. A popular name that I keep seeing mentioned in CP lore. Can I say that? CP? Is that socially acceptable? Anyways, there's this series called Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach. I'll add that one to the list, why not? Third Parent seems to be a popular pick made by Elias Warthrow, which is about an immortal paranormal entity who torments families for 5 years, trying to make them good. Whatever that means. Okay. You know, that sounds disturbing. I'll add that one to the list. Am I wrong in assuming that Creepypasta is less about scary short stories and more about reading extremely unsettling bodies of literature that like stick in your head for multiple days? I mean, I guess I'll find out after reading through these, but it's just intriguing to me how heavy of a following these things have. What is this? There's a subreddit for 2-sentence horror stories? What? After a long life together, my wife lay on her deathbed. One last mystery to be revealed. Untie the green ribbon around my neck, she said. What? I don't get it. I'm confused. Alright, and the last one I'll be reading through on account of these being much longer than I thought they were originally, Ted's Caving Page, which is about claustrophobia and paranoia surrounding a man stuck in a cave, I think. See, this one is sure to scar me for life because I just don't do claustrophobic situations. That film, As Above, So Below, is one of my favorite horror films just because of that. Just so many claustrophobic situations that I just could not for the life of me even think about being in. And I think that's going to be all I'm reading. Cumulatively, this is about 6 hours of Creepypasta that I'm about to read straight, so I don't know, maybe I'll come out of this mentally insane or something. The links to the stories that I'll be reading will be in the description, so feel free to experience these stories with me before I cut to the next section where I review it all. Alright, I'm gonna wait till it's nighttime so that I can read these in the correct setting, and I will get back to you on my thoughts. Alright, I think I understand now. Let's work backwards on this list. Ted the Caver was a very uncomfortable experience for a lot of different reasons. Some good in the sense that the story was supposed to unsettle me, but also some not so good in the sense that it was just unimmersive at times. First things first, the photos, whether they were real or fake, were incredibly unsettling for me. I mean, look at these. Like I said, I don't do claustrophobia, I don't do caves, nothing like that at all. By far, the photos were the most unsettled I was while going through this story, and to be honest, I think it helped me further understand the appeal of Creepypasta. It's not about the story itself being as creepy as it is, but also the fact that these seem to be based around real life occurrences, I'll say, and photos like this helped. And I think photos like this are a common occurrence in Creepypasta, I think at least. Part of the story that didn't work out for me all the way was the common horror story trope where the characters don't listen to normal life cues. Like, the gist of the story was that two dudes were so obsessed with trying to get through this very small hole to get into the other side of what was possibly a virgin cave, but then they started ignoring paranormal cues like odd monster sounds coming from the other side of the cave. Like, we just heard a weird sound on the other side of this hole. Should we continue trying to chip away at its sides and climb on the inside of it? It just doesn't sound like a normal way to think about things. Like, this isn't Uncharted. You aren't Tom Holland.
With great power comes great.
You're not Indiana Jones, dude. They had so many chances to just say, hey, maybe we should go to another cave, you know, considering the hole we're trying to fit through is so small that we have to chip away at its sides. Like, a virgin cave can't be this worth it. Fun fact though, apparently this was one of the first creepypastas on the internet, which I didn't even know going into it. Perhaps my CP pickings weren't as bad as I originally thought. Moving on to Third Parent. This one was incredibly dark and left me with a bad feeling in my stomach for sure, but I will say it was just a bit too long for my taste. Not to say it didn't serve its purpose, in fact the opposite. I feel like I so quickly understood the parallels that the author was trying to make between Tommy Taffy, the main antagonist of the story, and the connection to a very creepy grandparent that often visits the family. What's creepy about this is that this could be happening right now, today. In fact, it probably is to some family somewhere. It's unsettling until like the 1 hour of reading mark. I just kind of understand the loop. And side note, one thing I'm noticing about creepypastas in general is that the structure of both of these so far have been in journal format. I'm not sure if this is a common thing or if I just picked a group of them out that follow this tendency, but again, I think it's further pushing that this is a real story idealism. Regardless, this story had a very, very uncomfortable final act that sticks with you in all of the wrong ways, so I guess it accomplished its mission. But I don't know, I just expected to be more enthralled and more pulled in and more horrified. If we saw a cut down runtime on this one, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Alright, and finally, Pen Pal. This one did a little bit more for me than the Third Parent did when it comes to scares, but ultimately I'm still left with a hole in my enjoyment. This is mainly due to the suspension of belief I have to go through to believe that the main character would just willingly write back to their stalker. Like, bro, call the cops, go to the police station or something, golly. Like, don't get me wrong, I totally believe in suspension of belief when it comes to horror and any work of fiction really, but I can only go so far with that. To be fair, outside of that suspension of belief of the boys doing stupid things during the runtime of the story, it does deliver a somewhat skin-crawling ending and a creepy overtone for the whole thing. I just wish people would act more realistic. And again, I'm feeling like a shorter runtime would do this story well. I definitely disagree with the majority of the Reddit page that I mentioned that says that longer story entries are the better entries of the genre. I'm actually much more interested to see what a shorter, more focused story would introduce to the fold, as I feel like these three that I read are somewhat overbloated with details and actions that lead to an ending that are just easily predictable. On that note though, I mean, I guess I can see why a lot of creepypastas are turned into video games, because a lot of these ideas on paper sound enticing, but would find a lot more success if they were brought to life in some way, shape, or form. In conclusion, Creepypasta was a lot more detailed and unsettling than I thought it would be, focusing on uncomfortable situations such as Ted's caving story, or more obscenely gross prose like in the Third Parent story. But if I'm completely honest, to say these three stories engrossed me fully and entertained me would be just untrue. Maybe I just didn't get the correct set of stories. If you're a Creepypasta pro, please let me know where I may have missed certain things, or if there are stories that more suit my tastes. I like stories with a little bit more paranormal leaning aspects to them when it comes to horror, and definitely a lot shorter. I feel like that would really help the story sit with me longer, ironically. I love a long story, I love a slow burner, but I don't like detail vomit for the sake of detail vomit. But anyways, thank you for watching. I plan to do more experiencing for the first time videos, so if you have anything in mind, let me know in the comments. I don't know, I'm thinking like whenever the next episode happens, I might do K-pop or something like that. We'll see whenever I decide to do another video like this. And yeah, leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to subscribe as always. But let me do the fade out now. I am tired from reading all these creepypastas, these belligerently long creepypastas that were entertaining, but you know, whatever. Fade out happening now.
Look at me when I'm talking to you, Par! Oh, not change the subject, Bob!